Hey, George Arms here. Welcome back. As promised, I'm going to provide you folks with a tremendous bonus here, and it all has to do with LinkedIn groups. Now, those of you who are involved in LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, I hope many of you are, and have not embraced the whole arena of groups and what groups can do for you, uh, saddle up, buckle up. I'm going to give you all you need to know about LinkedIn groups right now. Okay? I'm going to provide you with proven strategies for using LinkedIn groups that will expand and enhance your career. It sure has done wonders for me. I only wish I got involved in groups way sooner than I did. But hey, hindsight's 2020, right? Uh, how powerful is LinkedIn? Well, currently has what 630 million members, 300 some odd million are monthly users, 40% log in daily. I'm one of those. 90 million senior level and influencers, 63 million decision makers. That goes on and on and on. Needless to say, if you're a professional, LinkedIn is a place to be, and you want to look hard at LinkedIn groups. Okay, now 92% of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn. 50% of companies have LinkedIn pages, company pages. That's huge. I mean, 57% of companies have LinkedIn page, company pages on LinkedIn. That's amazing. Anyway, okay. Groups are full of opportunity to help your career grow. I mean, there's just all kinds of facets to this. You get leads, build connections who may be useful to you down the road. You start with your own industry. If you're not involved in groups, here's what you do. Start with your own industry and add a few targeted groups every couple of weeks. And as you become more active, you can move further into it. But just get familiar with how groups work, their function, kind of their breadth and depth, and just get familiar and get comfortable with how groups and how they work, and you're going to be good to go. Okay. Now, I get this question all the time. Hey, Arms, why should I join LinkedIn groups? Well, a lot of people have mentioned that, and not having a clue of how specific groups can enhance and expand careers. I mean, they don't know what they don't know, and I was one of those too. But hey, hang in here. Just let me guide you along. Now, LinkedIn groups are one of the most powerful aspects of the LinkedIn platform. No question, hands down, one of the most powerful aspects. Okay? You want to visit groups, browse members, find people that have similar backgrounds as you have, interests, etc. Just get familiar with those folks and see how many there are in that particular group. Okay? Now, here's a major bonus. Once you join a group, you can message anyone in that group for free. Okay, once you're in a group, you can message any member of that group for nothing. It doesn't cost you anything. Big bonus. Okay, got to keep that in the back of your mind. Now, you want to meet others, of course, in your industry, whether you want to stay on top of news or just talk to others and understand a little more depth about your industry, your specialties, and where you're going. Okay, once you're in a group, take the time to see how often people post and what they say. Start reaching out to others in your industry that are doing some posting and get in on the conversations. Now, it's a great exposure for your expertise. It really is. Another benefit of joining groups is that you'll be able to show off your knowledge and skill sets. And also, you'll be able to help others who need help. As a lot of people ask for help, it's always nice to help people when you can. Okay? It's a very productive way to generate leads in your career, especially if you choose groups where your target market and audience are regular visitors of that organization, that group. The more content you put out there, the more connections, leads, and discussions you're going to have. And by the way, don't ever do any spamming on these groups. I mean, the managers, the monitors of the group will kick you right out if you do. So don't do it. Not worth it. Okay. Build yourself as a thought leader. With some patience, a little bit of work, you can use groups to establish yourself as an industry expert. I was fortunate enough to be able to do that a few years back when we launched the Art of Effective Interviewing for Hiring Managers. Some of you may recall that program. But I got a lot of play on that. I was held up as an expert. I don't know what that means really, but it was, hey, listen, paid dividends big time. All right, now, whenever you see an opportunity to answer a question, take the time to respond thoughtfully to that question. Select groups with discussions about your topic. Weigh in on the answers that are given. Provide value and contribute to the conversation. Okay? Now, I know others enjoy, just in groups, only apply privately to things. I prefer as much as possible to make my replies public so others can see the responses. It's just about sharing. Okay? Now, find great content to share. Check out the groups that are known for great sources for shareable content and tap into those guys. They can be a goldmine for you. All right, now, being on a social platform, you've got to realize that the more content connections you attain, the closer you're going to get, excuse me, to your audience, and the closer they will be with you. I mean, it's all tied together. This right here is probably the #1 reason why you should join LinkedIn groups. Okay? The more connections, the closer you get to your audience, the closer they're going to want to be with you. Okay? Establish expertise and gain trust advisors. Key. Okay? If someone has a question, try to be the first to speak up. Hey, spearhead a discussion and lead them to resources that you have that you don't think they have. We all have resources others don't have, so share them. Okay, share them. Now, when you join LinkedIn groups, you're going to see that LinkedIn makes a real effort to promote its best contributors and gives recognition. They actually do that. So even with 600 million members, I mean, they have the algorithms, since they hooked up with Google a while back, they have the algorithms to do this. So, hey, be a contributor, get recognized, LinkedIn will recognize you, okay? Now, LinkedIn groups can be one of the most valuable tools, and again, way too often overlooked. I paid a big price for it. So get hooked up with groups as soon as you possibly can. Get active. All right, now I get the question, how many groups should I join? I suggest you join only 2 or 3 groups. Okay, 2 or 3 active groups. Become an active member or 2 or 3 active groups. I know I'm repeating myself, but you got to let this sink in. That are directly related to your discipline. You focus on your career search here. Okay. All right. Now, how large a group should I join? That question comes back a lot. The ideal number, and not just George talking here, this is the research over the last couple of years. The ideal number between 7,000 and 13,000 members. That size of a group is ideal in terms of interaction, information, sharing, etc., etc. So between 7,000 and 13,000 members is a good number. Okay. There's some really large groups, of course. There's a software and technology group, 2.8 million. Digital marketing, 1.3 million. Startups, 900,000. Women's network, 800 some odd thousand. So the very large groups, I would shy away from those because again, you're going to be pretty much invisible if you get involved in any discussions or that sort of thing. Okay, now recruiters love to lurk in groups. Now I might say company HR people have become pretty savvy, also learn to lurk in groups. The last 4 or 5 years of my active recruiting retained work that I was doing, I would live in groups because that's how I found the executives to recruit and place, by networking through the groups, by messaging members of the groups. Hey, who do you know who? Who do you know who does? It's amazing. It's amazing. And so most of my placements back then, 2 or 3 years back, came as a result of me working and living in LinkedIn groups. Take that to the bank. Now, How to evaluate a group's quality. Is their management active? Are they, monitoring the discussions, the conversations? What are the rules? I always have to know what the rules are. Some of them have some pretty strict rules. Are there a lot of two-way conversations? That's really key. If you see a group that's having, a fair amount of two-way conversations, I'd pay attention to that group. That's an indicator that pretty good organization, pretty good group. Okay. All right. Now, you want to use groups, of course, to expand your relationships and do as much of these as you possibly can. Post informational content, ask questions, share opinions, and be responsive. Somebody puts up, you reach out to somebody, or somebody comes back to you, be responsive, respond as soon as you possibly can. Okay? Now, and you're going to stand out. You're going to showcase your expertise. You're going to build your brand. Hey, listen, your brand is you. My brand is me. So build your brand. Increases your search ranking and employer visibility. Hey, employer visibility, big deal. Now, group participants, active participants in groups get 4 times more profile views than anyone else on LinkedIn. Let me repeat that. Group participants, active participants, get 4 times more profile views than anyone else on the platform. Got to pay attention to that, right? Okay. Now, your employer also is going to be more comfortable with your LinkedIn visibility if you're seen promoting their products or services and representing the company well. They're going to like that. And believe me, companies monitor that. Larger companies have HR people. That's all they do is monitor their LinkedIn people, their employees on LinkedIn and what they're doing. And a lot of employers, we will research LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other social platforms prior to hiring anybody. So be careful out there. Now, plus, you can find jobs. Hundreds of companies post their jobs on LinkedIn groups, hundreds of them. So heads up. Now, and finally, got to know this. What you post is searchable. Never, oh, and by the way, never ask who can find me a job in a group. It's not cool, not cool. And I see LinkedIn profiles right after the name on the headline, unemployed, need a job. Gosh, you talk about desperation. That is pictured as desperation personified. So again, what you post is searchable. Be careful. And then once it's out there, it's out there. We all know that. Once it's in the cloud, it's always there. Okay? Who can get me a job? Giant kiss of death. All right. Now, I want to thank all of you for participating in these classes over the last segments here. Can't thank you enough. I enjoy it. Hope you did. There's more coming down the pike, so stay tuned. I want you all to take care of yourselves out there. Stay safe, be healthy, be well. I'll see you on the other side.